Okay, welcome to Bambala Math. So in this lesson, we're going to do solving compound linear inequalities. This will wrap up my lessons on linear inequalities. I have 2 other lessons on my YouTube channel at Bambala Math, so you can check those out. We're just going to focus on the compound linear inequalities, which you can see there's definitely a little difference between these and the other 2 lessons that we did on the inequalities. So looking at this here, you can see how you have this term and then you have the 2 numbers on the other side separated by your inequality symbols. And then here you have the word or, but you have 2 inequalities over here. So what's going to happen is when you solve this, you're going to wind up with your 2 solutions. They're either going to meet in the middle. If you look at a number line, they're going to meet in the middle, which is your and statement, or they're going to go in opposite directions, which is your or statement, which you will see as we go through these. So looking at number 1, if I want to solve this, there's 2 things you can do here. Sometimes students like to break this up into 2 inequalities. They take this right here, that becomes 1, and then they take this, and that becomes another 1, which is perfectly fine. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it here, and I'm going to get the x by itself in the middle. Again, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just going to go ahead and do that since it's already set up instead of breaking it up into the 2 inequalities. So in order to do that, you still got to follow the same rules. If I want to move this 3, I got to move it to here and to here as well, besides adding it to the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and add 3 to the left, add 3 to the right, in the middle, right in the middle. So when I do that, it gives me negative 40 is less than, this is negative 8x, which is less than negative 32. So now I just have negative 8 times x in the middle. So if I want to get rid of that negative 8, I got to divide by negative 8. Well, remember when you divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequalities. So I got to flip both of them. So I'm going to divide this by negative 8, divide this by negative 8, and over here. So that's going to be 5 is now greater than x, which is now greater than 4. So again, divide by a negative, you got to flip your inequalities here. So this is our answer. So if you read it, you got x is less than 5 and x is greater than 4. You're going to see when we put this on the number line that those are going to meet in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's put my 0 over here, and I'll just do 4 and 5. Now remember there's no equals here, so it's going to be open circles on both numbers. So open and open. And x is less than 5, so that goes this way. And x is greater than 4, so it goes this way. So again, they meet in the middle. So x is greater than 4, and it's less than 5. Your solutions are all in here. So let's go ahead and put this in interval notation. So remember, you're just taking the number line and you're just converting it to your interval notation. It's got to be, it has to go from least to greatest. So I'm basically starting at 4, going to 5, but I'm not including those numbers. So that's just going to be parentheses, because remember that if you're not including the numbers, parentheses. So 4, comma, 5, parentheses, and that is it. And I know it looks like an ordered pair, but that's our interval notation. So you got your inequality, your number line, and then you have your interval notation. All right, so let's look at number 2. You pretty much tell that this is an or statement because it has the word or in there. So when we're finished, our solutions should go in opposite directions. So let's see when we do that. So I'm just going to solve each one separately. I'll just start with this one right here. If I want to get the x by itself, I got to go ahead and subtract the 7. So I do that, and that gives me 3x is greater than or equal to 9. And of course, this is a multiplication, so I'm going to divide by 3. So then x is greater than or equal to 3. So there's one right there. Or, I'll just put the word or there. I'm going to go ahead and solve this. So I got to get rid of that plus 1, so I'm going to subtract 1. And that's going to be negative 4x is greater than 8. And now since I got to get rid of this multiplication, I'm going to divide, but I'm also dividing by negative, so I got to flip that inequality. So I'm going to divide by negative 4. So that becomes x is now less than negative 2. Sorry about that. So again, divide by negative 4. Inequality flips, and then 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. So I have x is greater than or equal to 3, or x is less than negative 2. So if I were to put that on a number line, put my 0 here, my negative 2 here, have my 3 here. Also be careful with your inequality symbols. This is greater than or equal to, so that's going to be a closed circle. But this is just a less than, not equal to, so it's going to be an open circle. Students usually make that mistake as well. So now I got to follow my inequalities. So I got x is greater than or equal to 3, so greater than goes to the right. X is less than negative 2, which goes to the left. So you can see that your solution is either here, which is x is less than negative 2, or your solution is here, x is greater than or equal to 3. They go in opposite directions. So there's our number line. Now putting this in interval notation is a little bit more difficult because you can see we have two separate intervals. So we have to write those two separate intervals. And we're just going to join them together as a union. So starting from the left, because remember it's always from least to greatest, we're going all the way from negative infinity. Let me put that in here. Positive infinity. All the way from the left, and we're going up to negative 2, but not including it. So it's going to be parentheses, because again, you don't put brackets around infinities. So negative infinity all the way up to negative 2, not including it, so it's parentheses. Then we're going to join that with a capital U for union. And then we pick it back up at 3, and we're including the 3. So that's going to be a bracket 3 all the way to infinity with a parenthesis. So that is how we do our interval notation when you have an or statement where they go in opposite directions. All right. So let's look at number 3 here. So it's similar to number 1, but of course I put this in here because a lot of students make that mistake. Again, they just want to go ahead and do 3 minus 2 is 1, but we can't do that. So just be really careful with that. What I'm going to do is distribute this negative 2 first. So by doing that, I get negative 7 is less than or equal to 3, and this is negative 2 times x, negative 2 times negative 5, equal to, greater than or equal to 14. So now I can go ahead and combine these two in the middle. So this would be negative 7 is less than or equal to, so negative 2x plus 13 is less than or equal to 14. Now I can go ahead and move the 13, and then eventually I'll divide by negative 2. So I'm going to subtract 13. So that gives me negative 20 is less than or equal to negative 2x, which is less than or equal to 1. So then the only thing to do now is divide by negative 2, but again, we're dividing by negative, so you got to flip the inequality. So if I divide by negative 2 here, and here, and here, so this becomes 10 is now greater than or equal to x, which is now greater than or equal to negative a half. Again, I got to flip these inequalities. So that is my inequality notation. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on a number line. So when I do that, I put 0 here, and I'm going to put negative 1 here because negative a half is in the middle. And I'll just put 10 right here. So now both of these have the equal sign with it, so they're going to be closed circles. And then we're going to go ahead and read our inequality. So x is less than or equal to 10, so that goes this way, less than or equal to. And then x is greater than or equal to negative half, that goes this way. So they meet in the middle because it's an end statement. So all your solutions are right in here. X is greater than or equal to negative half, and it's less than or equal to 10. So now let's go ahead and put this in our interval notation. Both of these values are included, so they're going to be brackets. So negative 1/2, comma, 10 with a bracket. And that one's finished. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. And again, I have many other lessons on my YouTube channel at Untitled Math. Like my first period students used to say, make smart choices. See you next time.